I'm John Batchelor. This is the John Batchelor Show. Spy versus spy. The Iranian Revolutionary Court has condemned to death a member of the United States military, a veteran, Amir Mirzaei Hekmati. He's 28 years old. A death sentence, according to the Islamic Revolution, for spying. Actually, the charge is very specific because this is a theocracy. The court found him corrupt on earth and mohareb, according to the Fars news agency. Reza Khalili, author of A Time to Betray, the award-winning story of his time spying for the CIA, a double agent in the IRGC, very critical for learning what we could about the Iranian Revolutionary Guard's ambitions to wage war and aggression on its neighbors, joins me now to comment on this story and other news from Iran, very provocative and threatening news about nuclear fuel cycle and about the Strait of Hormuz. Reza, what does mohareb mean from the court?
John, thanks so much for having me. Mohareb means enemy of God, enemy of Allah. And actually tens of thousands of Iranians have been executed on that charge. So anybody who talks against the regime, opposes the regime, or engages in acts of espionage is known as a mohareb, and they refer to this from Quran and their Islamic belief, and then it's executed. But I was a spy for the CIA, and as I described in my book, A Time to Betray, when I accepted to become a spy, they told me point blank that there wouldn't be a Navy fleet coming for my rescue should I get caught, and that they would deny any relations. But Mr. Hekmati is a born American, and he was part of the U.S. military. And I am baffled by the lack of action by the U.S. government to protect his life. However, he ended up in Iran, being it he was involved in espionage or not. He's a U.S. citizen. And the Iranian authorities cannot hand down an execution sentence and carry it out. I mean, we should object to that. We should be forceful. We should be voiceful. The last thing we want to do is remain silent, which would be an admission. This American citizen could very well be executed in the hands of the radicals ruling Iran.
Reza, because you are born Iranian, born Persian, and you speak the language very, very expertly, and your English is first-rate, Mr. Hekmati was born in the United States. He joined the U.S. military after high school in 2001 as a young man. Does that suggest that he'd have the ability to mask his American birth, to be able to speak Farsi in a fashion that would convince people, if he were a spy, that he could go inside the Iranian intelligence or Iranian nuclear weapons stories? Or would you hear it? Can you hear the accent?
Well, I think there would be some accent, and it could be noticed by the Revolutionary Guards. They're on the lookout after several incidents that have taken place in Iran recently, covert operations. They are on the lookout, and if this proves to be true, that he was sent in to lure the Iranian intelligence, I would say that was a very bad decision, a lousy decision, and basically we sent him into the lion's den, trying to entice the Iranian intelligence for information, and they were providing false information. But we got to understand that Mr. Hekmati was part of the U.S. military. He served in Iraq and likely in Afghanistan, and we should protect him, we should stand up for him, denying the charges and demand his immediate release.
There is additional provocative news. Over these last hours, the head of the nuclear agency in Iran has announced boldly that there is a site near Qum, the religious important city in Iran, a site that is for processing uranium fuel perhaps up to 20%. Is this news? The Fordos exist, that it's buried deep underground, and how to hear this news now, Reza?
Well, it's been for years that I've been saying that negotiations with these fanatics in Iran is not going to work, that they're just going to waste time and progress with their pursuit to get the nuclear bomb. And today it should be obvious to the world, it should be obvious to our leaders in America that our policies of approachment and negotiation and even sanctions have failed. Today, they're clearly progressing with their program. They have an IAEA just verified that they have actually started enrichment at Fordo, which is within a Revolutionary Guard base. So imagine this, all these sanctions, all these talks by the West, and they still go ahead, transfer all the 20% enrichment stock into Fordo facility, which is a military facility under the ground, and enrich to 20%. And enriching to 20% is 9/10 of the effort to reach weapon grade. So within weeks, they can reach weapon grade and have material to weaponize their warheads. And Kayhan newspaper, the mouthpiece of the Supreme Leader, published an editorial on Sunday saying that now we have two sites that enriching uranium, and this is our response to the enemy.
Reza, there are details in the reporting about Fordo. It says that satellite photographs have shown huge anti-air sites surrounding it. It's buried deep underground. It's a military reservation and has never been inspected by the IAEA. They have no access to military reservations. And that a military strike against Fordo would be very, very difficult, if not unlikely. Is that part of the Iranian thinking, that they're showing no matter what the West does, that it can't get all of it?
Oh, yes. Actually, they've said it out loud, that the decision was made because they believe there is going to be war. That's how determined they are to get the nuclear bomb. And they have transferred their stock, and they continue to enrich to 20% because they believe Fordo cannot be successfully attacked and destroyed. It's deep underground, and a lot of the anti-to-air missiles that they receive from Russia is positioned around Fordo. And so the reason for this transfer, and as you said, this is a military compound. This is an obvious provocation towards the West in trying to stop Iran from acquiring the nuclear bomb.
Reza, I want to press this one more time. Iran is saying that it has a nuclear fuel cycle program that is within a moment of making fissile material that's capable of being weaponized, miniaturized as well. And they're saying that it's untouchable, and they're saying that they believe that the West is going to attack, and if the West attacks, it will not be able to destroy all of its underground facilities, especially in the military parks. And if the West does attack anybody, they have plenty of anti-air to bring down the West attack. Is that all correct?
Yes, it is.
That means that now we focus on the Straits of Hormuz. Within these last days, again and again, the defense minister of Iran, Fahidi, who is wanted in the West for crimes against the West for many years, if he were to leave Iran, he would be detained. Fahidi has said that the Strait of Hormuz is closed and the Gulf is closed to the U.S. Navy's John Stennis, and that if the Stennis tries to come back, something will happen. That sounds like big, boastful action for a fourth-rate military power. What are they capable of doing? What do you think this big talk is that they can stop the Stennis from the Gulf?
Actually, today I put out a piece that the Iranian leadership now has officially ordered its military commanders to close the Strait of Hormuz should Western sanctions be implemented. So this is an official order, and they are announcing it, that they are going to actually shut down the Strait of Hormuz should the West pursue its sanction policy. So they are capable of creating a lot of problems in the Strait of Hormuz. This is a narrow waterway. They can mine it. They can attack with the submarines. They can attack with the surface-to-sea missiles from deep within Iran. And what it's going to do is going to create such a havoc in the oil market and the energy market that it would destabilize the global economy. And so what they're trying to do is trying to persuade the West to accept the regime in Iran to have a nuclear bomb. And unfortunately, with with things that are transpiring as of now, if we don't take drastic actions, that's what's exactly going to happen.
They condemn an American soldier to death for what they say is spy. They announce that they have an underground military park that is making fissile material that aims at a bomb. And they claim that if any more sanctions, they will close the Straits of Hormuz and choke off the international energy market. Is that about it, Reza, for this morning?
Well, I think that's about it until tomorrow morning.
Yeah, until tomorrow morning. Reza Khalili, he's the author of A Time to Betray, War Drums in the Gulf. Reza is on a voice modulator. He is under threat of death by the same gang that just condemned that young American soldier, veteran, to death. I'm John Batchelor. This is The John Batchelor Show.